John Wick 2, directed once again by Stahelski, who co-directed the first movie with David Leitch. John Wick 2 was in my top 10 anticipated movies of the year. So yeah, I was really looking forward to this movie and sequel to the very good action film John Wick. John Wick 2. The plot follows hitman John Wick, who goes on the run after a bounty is placed on his head. And after going through with a job that he didn't necessarily want to go on, it all goes tits up, and his idea of wanting to just retire from the life of a hitman and assassin is destroyed again. And so he's thrown back into the life that he wishes so badly to escape from. So the plot, again, it's pretty basic, it's pretty straightforward, but like the first movie, it's the ingredients and the craftsmanship that makes this movie so damn good. Again, this is probably one of the best action films since, well, its predecessor and Mad Max. And, Mad Max Fury Road. This was an amazing action movie. Beautiful choreographed action scenes that improved on the original, which, believe me, was going to be hard. The action scenes in this movie, the fight scenes, were so satisfying. It was great to see an action movie and actually see the fight scenes in all of their glory. None of this shaky cam nonsense and close-up shots, so you can't actually see what's going on. It was all nice, still, wide shots of beautiful choreographed fight scenes and action, and it was so immersive and fresh. Keanu Reeves as John Wick once again is amazing. I'm not sure how much of his own stunts he did, but it looked like he did about 99% of them, and that's another thing that I adored about this movie. Everything looked real. The action, the fight scenes, the stunts, it all looked real and authentic, and that the actors, like Keanu Reeves, were actually performing all of this for real. Whether it be him in his car or during a hand-to-hand combat, it made the film feel more grounded, dirty, and real. Because in so many scenes, you could see that Keanu Reeves was actually fighting and he was actually driving the car, and I really liked that. There's a moment where he flings someone into a window or a wall or a mirror, and it actually looks like he's doing it with force. It felt so real, and Keanu Reeves plays his character so well, and you could feel his anger. And I think this is what the entire movie feels like, and that's just anger. And Reeves does a great job at conveying that. He was made for this role, in my opinion. I think he was made for this role. Now, I loved the action scenes in this movie, but it does get a little bit repetitive to a point that you end up feeling a little bit numb to what's going on. Now, for me, that's only a very, very minor gripe, as I really enjoyed these scenes. And for me, it wasn't a bad thing, or it didn't bore me or anything, but it just did get a little bit repetitive at moments to a point where you felt numb to it all. Also, I think the action scenes were so well choreographed at points, it came across as kinda obvious, as in it almost became like a dance and not a fight. You could tell they were sort of fighting to a plan, if you know what I mean, and then, it just looked too choreographed, if you know what I mean. But again, these were in very few moments, and a very, very minor gripe from me. I also loved the camera work in this movie, the position of the camera during certain scenes, mostly the action. They were beautiful. For example, the camera would be situated inside the car, and that's when you could actually see that Keanu Reeves was driving this car and doing most of the stunts himself, and I just love the choice of camera angles in this film. Now, this is a very violent movie, and if you're easily offended or disturbed by very violent, gory action scenes that look very authentic, then you will not want to watch John Wick 2. I loved it. This movie is so damn violent, and it's great. I mean, there are so many deaths in this film. The body count is very, very high, and a lot of them are done in very imaginative ways, including one scene which, don't worry, I'm not going to give away exactly how he does it, but it does involve a pencil. and it actually made me look away from the screen. It actually made, it did actually, I had to move away. I turned my head away from the screen because I just couldn't witness what he was about to do. And for the film to have done that to me, for the film to have affected me like that, it felt great because the film was doing what it was supposed to do. And, it made me react, but not in a bad way. It was in a good way, but it was like I physically couldn't look at the screen during some of these scenes. I also loved the music. There was some great music in this film. There's a scene in Rome where a band are playing live outdoors. I'm not sure who they are. It has a female singer. For those that have seen the movie already will know what I'm on about. So if you happen to know who they are, please let me know below, as I really like them. But yeah, great soundtrack. It helped add a lot of tension to the action scenes. And, I would probably buy the soundtrack to this movie on disc very, very soon. I really did like it. So the villain of the piece, an Italian crime lord named Santino Di Antonio, played by Riccardo Scamarcio. I think that's how you say his surname. I really dug his performance. He didn't have an incredible amount of screen time, but I thought he made a pretty good villain, even though he did lack a little depth and was a little one-dimensional, but still a satisfying character or villain nonetheless. One thing that surprised me with this film was you sort of experience a mix of emotions and senses. Like, I felt a little bit of sorrow for the character John Wick, to moments of fun, and during the thrilling action scenes to be sickened by some of the violence and acts that certain people commit. The film made me wince and turn away from the screen. It made me jump even. And, this was an event. It was an experience, and I loved it. And I think any one of you who enjoy well-made, well-crafted action movies, you should really check John Wick 2 out, as well as his predecessor. Now, this could have been a very trashy, underwhelming and terrible movie, or just your average action B-movie. But for me, it was so much more, and that was because of the way in which it was crafted. How well the action scenes were choreographed and shot, the performances from the cast, the music, the editing, the lighting, and the stunts, the writing even. It was because of all of this that makes a very basic plot and a very violent film so damn entertaining and, well, one of the best action movies made. I personally think that this is among one of the best action movies made, along with his predecessor, as well as Mad Max, Fury Road, and The Die Hard. This is almost certainly among them. Now, in a way, John Wick 2 is not quite as different as the original film, and a sequel should always sort of really expand on character and lore of the original film. And, this does has pretty similar beats and events to the original film. But down to the way in which this movie was made, that really doesn't matter to me much. I always said that I didn't think John Wick really needed a sequel, but in a way this sequel does add a little bit more lore to the character and his world. But that's about it. But it's a sequel that was very well made and was very satisfying. It may not have been needed, but it's very much welcomed. And I also feel like the character of John Wick is quite deep, and would love to see more of his character and get to see the other sides of him, because you do sort of get hints that he's not just this stone cold killing machine, but that he does have a heart and emotion. He just, he does feel, and you only get hints of that through, though. But I liked it. John Wick 2, like its predecessor, is beautiful when it comes to action movies. It's a very well crafted action movie made with a lot of passion, and in a way, for me, it felt like a little bit of a love letter from director Charles Stahelski to the classic martial arts films like Enter the Dragon, as well as revenge movies such as Charles Bronson's Death Wish. That's how it felt to me, and so bring on John Wick 3 as far as I'm concerned, because I'm really, really looking forward to seeing more of this character and this world. So, I'll be giving John Wick 2 an A. Thank you again for watching. I really do appreciate it. Did sort of make an attempt in this to sort of dress like John Wick himself. I'm just missing the hair, really. But yeah, I do really, really appreciate it. What do you guys think? Did you enjoy John Wick as much as I did? John Wick 2 even. And have you seen the first film? And if you haven't, you know, let me know below. I do highly recommend both movies. So yeah, again, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you see and you share the same passion, then why not hit subscribe and follow me on my journey.